I want to understand about decisions, how a decision comes about. Sometimes a decision, it's like it doesn't stick. I think I'm going to do something, I start going, and it doesn't happen. Other times, it's like, it seems to be a matter of surrender to it or alignment with it, or there's still confusion about whether I seem to go toward my vibrational escrow or whether I'm stuck in my personal vibrational vortex.
Here's where the best explanation of decision, and it ties in with our friend who sort of shines in a crisis, is that law of attraction is going to force a decision. And some of you are not going to make it until your death experience. But law of attraction is forcing this decision in this way. The vortex is gathered and law of attraction is responding to it, and there's a powerful momentum and you are becoming. But let's say you're stuck in the habits of thought that aren't letting you go. No problem. As you don't go to who you've become, you feel worse. The contrast is greater. The contrast causes you to ask for more, but you still don't go, so the contrast is greater. So the contrast causes you to ask for more, but you still don't go. And the reason that the contrast gets greater and the tug of war gets stronger is because law of attraction is responding to both vibrational aspects of your being. So whenever you know what you don't want, the larger part of you knows what you do want. And those two vibrational aspects are always being responded to by law of attraction. Can you feel the power of this question? We don't think you even know the depth and the power of this question. In other words, law of attraction is insisting upon a decision point. And the answer is, at what point does someone make the decision to go be who they are? You want to know what makes the difference?
Sure.
How willing you are to endure discomfort.
Right. Okay.
That's what makes the difference. If you're not willing to endure discomfort, you go right away. Oh, I think I'll think these thoughts. I feel ever so much better. But if you've been trained, oh no, there's virtue in not feeling good. There's no gain without pain. Then some of you get really good at holding to things that every fiber of your being lets you know is wrong, but you hold to them and you hold to them until death do us part, and then you come right together in vibrational alignment with who you are.
Right. You evoked for me a memory of the relief of the decision. You know, how I felt, and I felt relieved that it was going to happen, as opposed to the pain was going to stick around.
Every time you feel relief, you're releasing resistance. Every time. Right. And releasing resistance allows the culmination of the true decision that life has caused you to become. In order for this to make sense, there are some things that are helpful. In other words, if you can accept that you were source energy coming in, and if you can accept that the source you is extracting from what you are living the best of you decisively, never letting go of that vibration. And if you could accept that when you let yourself go there, it's going to feel like ecstasy, and that anything less than that is not going to some degree. And if you could accept the rightness of that decision, if we could just somehow convince you of the perfection of this system, of the perfection of who you were coming in, and of the value of contrast, and of the precision of your guidance system, and the deliciousness of what you've become, and the non-existence of a judgment about how you're doing. In other words, it's just all a self-study on personal expansion and becoming. And it exists completely for the benefit and the joy of the expansion. So which is it? Does the expansion exist to give you joy? Or does the quest for joy the reason for expansion? Or does it matter? Because the only thing that matters is I can feel when I'm not being me, and I can feel when I am being me, and I can feel when I'm really not being me, and I can feel when I'm sort of not being me, and I can feel when I'm tuned in, tapped in, turned on. I can feel when I'm seeing the world through the eyes of source. I can feel when I'm fulfilling my reason for being. I can feel when I'm uplifting in the way I intended. I can feel when I've got myself pinched off from who I am. I can feel when I'm in alignment with who I really am. I can feel when I'm satisfying the dreams I dreamed before I was even born. I can feel when I begin dreaming the dreams that I've dreamed since I got here. I can feel when I've let go of the resistance, which is the only thing that's keeping me from who I am. I can feel when I've let go of the oars and the stream is carrying me. I can feel when I'm in alignment with who I have become. I can feel when I'm bored. I can feel when the contrast would serve me a little more. I can feel when I've goosed it up too far. I can feel when I've let the contrast get out of hand. I can feel when I'm out there on the raw and ragged edge. I can feel when I'm in a place of satisfaction and contentment. And now I know all of that. Now I know how to manage the gap. So I don't have to guard myself or protect myself or wall myself up. People will say, oh, Abraham, I've been reading your stuff and I feel so good. But those people at work are so negative. And I'm afraid that they'll drag me back into the hole I was in before. And we'll say, that's not possible. You can't know what you know and ever go back. There is no regression. You can't have expanded to this knowing and ever step back. It can't be like that again. You can never go back to a previous painful negative emotion. You can't. You know too much, you see. So now your decisions are not, let's see, should I choose agony or ecstasy? Let me think. What is the decision? Well, you actually never have those choices, do you? Because agony is nowhere near ecstasy. So the choice really is, should I be miserable or a little less miserable? Those are the choices. Or should I be full of love or full of a little more love? Those are the choices. But your choices are always pretty close together, you see. You don't have this choice or this choice. Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Now, what does that mean to you? What relationship does this swirling, pre-manifestational energy vortex of creation, what relevancy does that have to you? Well, it's everything to you because, first of all, it was you before you were you. And the you that is you in your physical form have now added to it. So you are tied to it in every vibrational way. And now, law of attraction is working. Oh, law of attraction. Blessed, consistent, always present law of attraction, responding to this that you have become. So that begs the question, what are you doing in relationship to it? Here's this swirling, massing vortex of coming together. Can't you feel it? All things necessary, all people, all components, all pieces of the puzzle, all things necessary for the culmination of what you've been asking for, all being assembled powerfully and quickly by law of attraction. But if you're over here beating the drum of where's my stuff, I've wanted it for so long and it does not come to me. I've wanted it for so long and it does not come to me. For so long and it does not come to me. Then it's over there. It's over there. In fact, do you know? It's all there. You're the only missing piece. It's all there. Everything that you want is there. But when you doubt it, you're nowhere near it. And even though law of attraction is powerful, law of attraction is responding to all that you are. Law of attraction is responding to this which you have become, and law of attraction is responding to this which you are letting yourself be. Do you know that negative emotion is the effect that law of attraction has on the two vibrational aspects of you? As law of attraction is swirling around who you've become, and law of attraction is swirling around that which you are letting yourself be, you can set up a sort of tug of war, can't you? You can hold yourself apart from who you really are. And the art of allowing, which is what this gathering is all about, the art of allowing is learning to let law of attraction work for you rather than pull you apart, because you gave birth to this that you want. And Source has given undivided attention to it. When you ask, it is given. The creative process is 3 steps. Step 1 is asked. The contrast causes you to ask all day, every day. You ask and ask and ask. You've been asking. You will always ask. It is the eternal nature of your being. You can't turn your asking off because you can't turn your perception off. And in your perceiving from your selfish vantage point, you cannot cease asking. You just can't stop preferring and identifying what would be better, what would be better, what would be better. It is the nature of all that is. It is the evolution of all species. It is the nature of all that is. So you're asking, step one, ask. Law of attraction and source energy's response to what's in your vibrational vortex. That's step two. Not your work. Nothing you can do about that. In other words, when a part of that which is source, meaning you, has a new idea, and you always do, source takes you at your new preference, because no one would know what you want more, and no one could be more accurate about it than you. And when you think about it, how good is that? Source energy responding to the requests of all. What a perfect world that is. So here's this vortex expanding. Step three is you moving into the vortex. Step three is you finding somehow, some way to be a vibrational match of what you're asking for. When you're sick, you send a request for wellness, and source gives undivided attention to that wellness, and that broader part of you becomes weller than you were before you were sick. That's expansion. When you're confused and you ask for clarity, source finds the clarity, and you are clearer than you were before you were confused. When you have a problem, you ask for a solution. Source becomes the solution, and you are evolved, expanded beyond that which you were before you had the problem. That's why you said, I eagerly go forth and mix up with others, because in all of that contrasting experience, I know there will be expansion. So what about expansion? What's the big whoopee about expansion? What is it? What does expansion mean? I was born for growth. I'm on this eternal quest for growth. What does that mean? I thought I would get to rest in heaven. What's going on? What's all this growth? And we say, well, it's the inevitable consequence of beingness. You cannot have a comparative experience without coming to the conclusion. And the source energy part of you will take the expansion. But what's in it for you? And the whole reason that you come forth is because as you have become something as a result of the contrast that you've lived, and as you then turn your attention toward the idea of that becoming, because law of attraction is responding to this vortex of becoming, there is a current or stream that is calling you, and when you move in the direction of it, the satisfaction is nearly unspeakable. The feeling that happens when life causes you to expand and you let yourself receive the full benefit of that expansion, nothing is more delicious than that. So you say, oh, so I came forth for the growth, and we say, you came forth for the joyous experience of expansion. You came forth for the thrill of feeling the energy moving as you are upon your eternal expansion. Now, this process only feels good to you if you are moving in the direction of your expansion. In other words, if life causes you to become something and you don't let yourself go, you don't feel good. In other words, the tension within you, all negative emotion is about life causing you to become something, and the larger part of you becoming, and the physical part of you not going. It's like sifting through the contrast and recognizing that you don't have enough of the resources that you want. I want more money. I need more money. I want more money. I need more money. And when you ask, you launch rockets of desire, one after another, one after another. There's a veritable fortune spinning for you, becoming for you. If you could see the aerial view of what's in your escrow, you'd relax, you'd chill, you'd be proud, you'd feel worthy. But as you beat the drum of, it isn't here, I don't know where it is, I don't know what to do, I can't find it, I'm really afraid, I don't know what to do, it's not fair, that guy's got some, I don't, that guy's got a lot, I don't, that guy. Rich one over there, probably deals drugs. As you continue to explore the contrast that now, after the asking, that same contrast defies the allowing. When you stay stuck in step one, in an eternal beating the drum praying for something improved, when you keep asking and asking and asking and asking the same question over and over and over and over, you set up within yourself a chronic pattern of vibration that is focused upon the absence of what you're asking for. Don't you feel that? Can't you feel that when you're fixated on the problem, the solution cannot appear to you?